The banging started again, louder this time, more violent. The walls trembled, and the candle blew out. I felt a cold presence behind me, and when I turned, I saw a figure, a shadowy, twisted form with hollow eyes. It all started on a quiet Friday night. I had just finished binge-watching my favorite series and was about to turn in. The house was still, the kind of silence that makes you notice the hum of the refrigerator or the ticking of a clock. My phone sat on the nightstand, its screen black and lifeless. Then it buzzed. A chill ran down my spine. I glanced at the clock, 12:03 a.m. Who would call me at this hour? The number was unlisted. Something in me said to ignore it, but curiosity got the better of me. I swiped to answer. Hello? Silence. Hello? I said again, more forcefully. Then a whisper. So faint I thought I imagined it. But no, the voice came through again, barely audible. Help me. My chest tightened. It wasn't a prank. There was desperation in the voice, like whoever it was barely had the strength to speak. Who is this? I asked, my voice shaking. The call disconnected. I stared at the phone, waiting for it to buzz again. When it didn't, I shook my head and told myself it was probably some crank caller. I crawled into bed, but sleep wouldn't come. My mind kept replaying those two words, help me. At 12:45 a.m., my phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't a call, it was a text. Why didn't you help me? My breath caught. I typed back, who is this? No response. I tried calling the number, but it didn't even ring, just dead silence. I told myself it had to be a bad joke. Maybe one of my friends messing with me? I decided I'd deal with it in the morning. But the morning didn't come quietly. At exactly 3 a.m., I woke up to a loud bang. It sounded like it came from my living room. My heart raced as I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight. The light trembled in my shaky hands as I made my way to the living room. The room was empty. Nothing was out of place. But then I noticed my front door, wide open. I slammed the door shut and locked it, my mind racing. My phone buzzed again. Another text. You shouldn't have answered. I froze. My eyes darted around the room, expecting to see someone or something, but I was alone. I typed back, who are you? What do you want? This time, the reply came instantly. I want what you took from me. I stared at the message, my mind spinning. I hadn't taken anything from anyone. Before I could respond, my phone started ringing again, the same unlisted number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Leave me alone, I shouted into the phone. But this time, the voice wasn't a whisper. It was guttural, inhuman. You can't escape me. Then came the sound, a horrible screeching noise like nails on a chalkboard mixed with static. I threw the phone down, but the sound didn't stop. It grew louder, filling the room, piercing my ears. I screamed, covering my ears, but the noise seemed to come from everywhere. Then, just as suddenly as it started, it stopped. The next morning, I was exhausted but determined to figure out what was happening. I called my best friend Mia and told her everything. You answered a midnight call from an unknown number? Are you crazy? She said. We decided to trace the number. Mia had a tech-savvy cousin who was good at that sort of thing. He called me back later that afternoon with information that sent chills down my spine. That number belongs to someone who's been dead for over a year. I dropped the phone. How is that even possible? I whispered. Mia insisted I come over and stay at her place, but I didn't want to drag her into this. I had to figure it out on my own. That night, the calls started again. This time, they didn't stop. Every hour on the hour, my phone would buzz. If I ignored it, the banging would start. On the walls, the windows, the door. It felt like my house was alive, pulsing with malevolent energy. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't think. By the third night, I was a wreck. I tried smashing the phone, but it didn't help. The calls would still come. Even without the phone, I'd hear it ringing in my head. Mia called to check on me, but when I answered, all I could hear was static. Then her voice came through, distorted and faint. Help me. Please help me. I screamed and threw the phone across the room. Desperate, I went online to search for answers. I stumbled across a forum about supernatural occurrences and posted my story. One user replied almost immediately. You've answered the call of the lost. They are souls who cannot move on. Once you answer, they latch onto you. To break free, you must return what was taken. Return what was taken? I didn't even know what that meant. The user added, if you don't, they'll drag you into their world. That night, I sat in the middle of my living room, clutching a Bible and a candle. When the phone buzzed at midnight, I didn't answer. Instead, I shouted, "What do you want from me?" The banging started again, louder this time, more violent. The walls trembled, and the candle blew out. I felt a cold presence behind me, and when I turned, I saw a figure, a shadowy, twisted form with hollow eyes. "Return what you took," it rasped. I screamed. I didn't take anything. The figure pointed to my phone. Trembling, I picked it up. The screen lit up with an image, a photo of a necklace I had bought at a flea market weeks ago. The vendor had said it was antique, but I didn't think much of it. Realization dawned on me. That necklace must have belonged to them. The next day, I drove to the flea market, clutching the necklace. I found the vendor and demanded to know where it came from. He looked at me with wide eyes. "You should have never taken that," he said. I returned the necklace to him, and for the first time in days, my phone didn't buzz. The silence was deafening but welcome. I thought it was over. I thought I was free. But 2 weeks later, I received a package in the mail. Inside was the necklace and a note. "You can't escape me.